from Clonmel, but I live in Brazil. The last few years I've been living in Brazil, and I work as a children's book illustrator. That means I draw pictures for children's books, and you can see some of the books in front of me here that I've worked on for different publishers, different authors, and it's a really nice job. I really like it because I get to draw every day, and I get to draw lots of different things such as cute little animals, children, unicorns, everything you can imagine. Today I'm going to do a workshop with you. It's actually going to be my first workshop, so I hope you enjoy. It's going to be we're going to do a workshop and we're going to make our own little picture book at home. What you're going to need, you're going to write the story, so you're going to write a story and illustrate it. And to do this, we're going to need a piece of paper, so A4 or A3. I'm going to use A3 because it's big. We're going to fold it in 8 pieces. So it may not have pages around this size. Actually, here's a little one I made earlier. So if you use an A3 page, it's going to be around this size. If you use A4, it's going to be half that size. So you need a piece of paper, some pencils, a scissors, and then things to colour with. So crayons, markers, colouring pencils, whatever you want, paint, whatever you want. And so we're going to make, first of all, we're going to fold the paper, make the zine. We're going to write a story using prompts, and then we're going to illustrate it. And at the end, you will have your own little picture book. Okay, so we're going to begin by folding this piece of paper in half. So take the left side and fold it right over to the right, as neatly as you can, and then fold it in half. And rub good and strong along the crease, because you want to have a really neat crease. It's going to make it easier to fold your book later. And then open it up. And then we're going to do the same thing, but in the opposite direction. So from this line up to the top, from this side up to the top. And again, try and get it as close as you can to the edge. And then push it down good and strong with your fingers. And then open it up again. So we now have 4 sections in our piece of paper. And we're going to fold each of these shorter edges into the middle. So we have the line here in the middle to use as a guide. And we're going to fold it and bring it in as close as we can. And then rub it down. And the same with the other side. So bring it in. And give it a good rub along the crease. And then you can open up your piece of paper. And you'll see now that you have 8 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to fold it in half once more across this way. Let's cross the shorter side. Fold it back to the middle. Give it another rub. And now we're going to take our scissors and you're going to cut from this point here right to the center, okay? So very slowly, try and get it as neat as you can along the line, right in, and then just up to the center point. And then open it up again. So you see now you have a cut, you have a slit here across the middle of the page. And we're going to fold it long ways in half. So then the slit is down here. Give those creases another little rub. And now we're going to fold this into our little book. So this part is a little bit tricky, especially if you've got an A3 piece of paper. A4 is a little bit easier. But yeah, so you just take your piece of paper in half, hold it here where these 2 little creases are, and then bring those fingers together. So then it closes here in the center. And then do the same at the other end. So bring those 4 points together. So then you should have a piece of paper like this. And now we're going to fold along the creases that we've already made. So we close those, and close those. Okay, and then try and neaten it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, And then we just give it a good rub along the edges, just to make sure that they're all nice and neat. And then there's your book. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages, a front and a back cover. So we have our zine, 6 pages, and now it's time for us to write our story. We're going to use prompts to give us some ideas, not to spend too much time thinking up ideas, because it can actually take months, weeks, years to write a good story. But with the help of prompts, it's a really quick and fun way to do it. You've probably seen prompts like Inktober, a lot of these online challenges. They give you a word and then you can do a picture or create a story based around this word. So that's what we're going to do. And yeah, I'm sure you've all written lots of stories and you know well how to write a story. But there's a nice structure to follow. It is a very common structure that nearly all stories follow. If you watch any of your favourite films, read any of your favourite books, you can usually break it down into this simple structure, and that is beginning, middle and end. And the way it follows would be, you have a character or a situation, and then that character has a problem, and then they fix the problem or resolve the problem. And that's usually what every film or every story follows. Of course there are exceptions and you don't have to follow this rule, but it's a good way if you want to, you know, create a nice story. For example, we have, if you think, let me see, 2 films that I really like, say Matilda. Matilda's a little girl. She doesn't get along with her family and she really wants to live with people who appreciate her. So she ends up getting Miss Honey to adopt her at the end, and they live happily ever after. Finding Nemo is another film, another good story, where Nemo is a little fish, a little clownfish. He gets lost and needs to find his way home to his father, but he comes across lots of problems and obstacles along the way. But eventually, actually without giving away the whole story, he solves the problem. And yeah, so it follows the same structure. Character with a problem resolves the problem. So I'm going to use that structure today. You can use whatever you want, but that's just a brief intro about storytelling. Okay, next we're going to write a list of words that are going to help us to create our story. You can pick a theme if you like. I'm going to pick Halloween because it is October and I love Halloween. But you can pick any theme you like, or you can just pick random words. You don't have to stick to a certain theme. Just write. Try not to think too much. And because when you think too much, sometimes it gets too complicated. So just try and write the first words that come to your head. Keeping in mind that we're going to need a little character for our story. So write a few words that could be a character, such as, for me, I'm going to write maybe ghost, witch, fairy, etc. So on a few, you're going to cut these up, so you don't worry about how the paper is. Just a few scraps of paper that you have lying around. And then just start to write, leaving space in between each word so that you'll be able to cut it up after. So I'll begin with ghost. And yeah, you're going to need at least 6 sentences in your story because we're going to have 6 pages. So try and write at least 10 words. I'm going to get closer to maybe 15, 20, but at least 10, okay? Witch, ghost, fairy, witch, broomstick, moon, darkness, eerie, fog, spooky, pumpkin, magical, did I write cobweb? No. Cobweb, creepy, horrible, black cat, monster, forest. And that should be plenty. So now I'm going to cut these up and then I'm going to pop them into the cup. Okay, so we have all our words in our cup and we're going to pick out 6 so that they are going to help us to create our story. So I'm going to pick out 6 and just lay them on the table. Broomstick, pumpkin, horrible, forest, eerie, one more, witch. So now it's time to write our story. We have our 6 words and we're going to write a story with 6 sentences, each sentence containing one of these words. We're going to try and keep it simple because each of these sentences has to go into our little book later with illustrations, so we don't want it to take up too much space. So keep it simple, keep it short. I'm going to put these into an order without thinking too much. I think it's good to put something like a character at the top. So I'm going to put witch. She's going to be my character. And the rest then I'm just going to, without thinking, yeah, you can give it a little bit of thought, but try not to think too much because otherwise it gets very complicated. Horrible and forest. And I think that's going to work. It is going to work because whatever you choose, you're going to have to make it work. So I'll begin by making space for each of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And don't worry how this turns out because it might turn out really silly. It might turn out really good. Chances are it's going to turn out quite silly and not even going to make a lot of sense. But it's all about having fun and getting a little story for your book. I'm going to follow the structure that I mentioned earlier. A good structure for a story, which a lot of stories follow, is you begin with a character. The character has a problem and then the character fixes the problem. You don't have to do this at all. You can write about whatever you want or follow whatever structure you want. You can even just draw pictures to go with these words in your book, whatever you think is best for you. But that's the structure I'm going to follow. So I'm going to begin by introducing my little witch. So a little witch, W-I-T-C-H, lived in the woods. Pumpkin. This little witch loved to eat pumpkin soup. The next word is eerie. But tonight, so I think now as well, 3 or 4 is a good time to bring it in, introduce your problem because it gives her time then to fix the problem as well. So her problem is going to be, but tonight she couldn't find any pumpkins and there was an eerie feeling in the air. So that's her problem. So the little witch lives in the woods. She likes pumpkin soup, but tonight she couldn't find any pumpkins and there was an eerie feeling in the air. So now she's going to have to sort out this problem and fix this problem. Next word is broomstick. That's actually, a good one. So she grabbed her broomstick and flew over the trees. Over the trees. This was horrible. Where she saw a horrible monster. And maybe he's eating all the pumpkins. Eating all the pumpkins. Punkins. What did she do? So the next word is forest. So she cast a spell on him and he ran out of the forest, crying like a baby. Like a baby. And then a little ending. So she went home and made the best pumpkin soup ever. The end. And now it's time for the fun part. So now we're going to write and illustrate our little zine, our little book. Okay, so I'm very tight on time here. I'm going to try and get this done as quickly as possible, so it's going to be really sketchy. But you can spend as much time as you like. You can follow along with me, or you can do it at your own pace, whatever suits you best. Later we're going to come and do the front cover. So we're going to begin on the inside. This will be page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the back cover. So our first line, my first line was, a little witch lived in the woods. So that'll be on this page. And then on this page will be, this little witch loved to eat pumpkin soup. So I think I'll have the witch on this page, and not to have the two pages too similar to each other. On this page I think I will have the woods, or her little house. And actually I'm going to use, I think I'll use two colours. I'll use a black, and I think I'll use maybe pink and maybe blue. Yeah, so I'm going to use these three colours. You can use whatever materials you like. If you have paint, if you have pastels, ink, marker, whatever you want to use, feel free. But I'm going to, because I want to keep it simple as well, for me using just 2 or 3 colours is going to make it a lot easier. So I'll begin by drawing the woods. And again, I'm going to draw this really quickly because I don't have much time to spend on it. So, oh yeah, a little house. Draw maybe her little house. Maybe some smoke coming out of the fire. So that might be the witch's house. Then we're going to have surrounded by trees. So I'm going to do blue trees. And again, this is really, really rough because I'm very tight on time. If I had more time, I would spend some time designing the characters and really planning it out, but because this is just a small video, I have to do it quite quickly. So this is me drawing my trees in the forest. Maybe do some pink trees. You'll actually see in a lot of children's books, they often do only use 1 or 2 colours. It can give a really nice finish, really nice look to the book. Depends on the story or the artist, but it is quite a common, it's called a limited palette. It's good for this kind of a situation where I'm under pressure. I'm going to draw another few little trees out here. So that's our little house in the woods. It's a very friendly looking forest for a witch, but that's okay. There's a few shadows under the trees. So that's our little witch's house. And then the line was, a little witch lived in the woods. So I can put the text up here or down here. I think I'll put it down here. So a little witch A little witch lived in the woods. And you can spend more time on your handwriting and, you know, getting it look really nice if that's what you want to do, but I really don't have time, so I'm going to make it as rough as, do it as quickly as I can. So a little witch lived in the woods. And we don't need to draw the witch right away because the text tells us that there's a witch living here in this little house. So on the next page we're going to introduce her. Maybe do a few little clouds up in the sky. So that's a nice little forest for a witch. Okay, so the next page. This little witch loved to eat pumpkin soup. So I think for this page I'm just going to draw the little witch. We don't need to draw her eating pumpkin soup or loving pumpkin soup because it's written in the text. So that's why in picture books it's really nice. You can use the words in the story. Each one can tell their own, can do their own part. So the text is telling us that she loves pumpkin soup. So the picture is just going to introduce the witch. I think I'll draw her little blue hat because witches like hats. I think I'm going to make her quite cute because I like cute witches. She doesn't have to be an evil witch. Give her a little smile, and then we'll pop her on a broomstick. Give her a pair of boots. And then the witch. I'll pop that into a little circle. And maybe draw some magic, because she's a magic witch. Maybe draw some stars. Some sparkles. And there's our witch. And because this text on the top, bottom, we could also write on the bottom, but I think I'm going to write on the top. So this little witch, could also give her a name, but I think I'll just leave it like this. Call her Little Witch. This little witch loved to eat pumpkin soup. Actually, maybe I'll draw a little pumpkin under her arm. So she's carrying a little pumpkin on her broomstick. I don't know if that looks like a pumpkin, but there's a little. We know it's a pumpkin anyway. On page 3, it says, but tonight she couldn't find any pumpkins and there was an eerie feeling in the air. So I think for this page, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to draw the sad little witch. What colour? She was wearing blue. So I'm just going to draw, she's feeling a bit sad because there's no pumpkins around. Maybe put a piece of paper in between the pages just to stop it from getting dirty. So I'll put this in here just to stop the pencil from transferring to the opposite page. So, but tonight she couldn't find any pumpkins and there was an eerie feeling in the air. So we'll draw a little sad witch. And again, keeping her very simple. You can draw much fancier looking characters if that's what you want to do, but I'm going to keep them really, really simple. And she's little legs with boots. Give her, and she's got her broomstick in her hand. Little shadow underneath. And it says there's an eerie feeling in the air, so maybe I'll draw some kind of like fog or like kind of a smoky effect. Just to kind of make it spooky looking. You could even draw like a ghost or something if you want. And I think I'll fit her into a little circle as well, just to give it a bit of a frame. Draw the moon in the sky, maybe some stars. And then we write her sentence. So, but tonight she couldn't find any pumpkins and there was an eerie feeling in the air. I'll divide this top and bottom. But tonight she couldn't find any pumpkins. Need to sharpen my pencil. And there was an eerie, two E's, three E's, there should be two, E-E. Let's see, I can rub that off. An eerie feeling in the air. So then she's going to grab her broomstick and fly over the trees. So again, we're going to draw loads of trees, and I think I'll draw her flying across the sky up here. So the treetops. Again, I'm just going to be really rough and messy. You spend more time coloring these. Let's do a little mixture of pink as well, or two colors. As well, you could draw like lots of different types of trees and even some animals, maybe an owl or, you know, different things in the forest. I think that's nearly enough. I'm going to draw the moon way up high. And then we'll do our little witch flying across the sky. So she's going to be nice and small here. Here she's with her hat. And her little face. So she's off searching for her pumpkins. And obviously it's so small, it's hard to get details in here, so don't worry about them. Especially if you're on an A4 piece of paper, it's going to be even smaller, so just do your best. There she is. And we draw maybe some magic flying away from her. Can we do more stars? Do different color stars. Make it look even more magical. Ah, and I forgot about the text. Oops. What was the text? She grabbed her broomstick and flew over the trees. I think I'll write it over the trees down here. The black pencil is going to work. So she grabbed her broomstick and flew over the trees. She grabbed her broomstick and flew over the trees, and I'll bring that in nice and neat to the edge. Now we're on to the last 2 pages. We call this in book, this is a spread, a double page spread. So we're on to the last double page spread. And this page she's going to see the monster. And in this page, what was the last page? Oh yes, he's going to run out of the forest crying like a baby. So she grabbed her broomstick and flew over the trees, where she saw a horrible monster eating all the pumpkins. She cast a spell on him. So that's going to be on this page. So I think I'll draw a horrible monster eating loads of pumpkins. So again, normally I would spend a lot of time designing the characters and, you know, giving them nice features, but I don't have time, so I'm just going to scribble down a monster. We give him a big mouth, maybe he's like a friendly, nearly like a friendly monster. Give him a big mouth. Maybe 2 sharp teeth and then some big teeth. We'll draw a pumpkin in his mouth. And then I think inside his mouth would be black, wouldn't it? It'd be nice and dark. And we give him little eyes, maybe a big nose, and then he's got his arms flying up in the air, throwing the pumpkins. Can't even see them now, but yeah, throwing the pumpkins into his mouth, and then 2 little legs. He's kind of sitting down on a rock. Grey rock. And some action lines. Maybe give him some hair. And a few more pumpkins around, because it says he's eating all the pumpkins, so I'm going to show that there's loads of pumpkins here that he has. And the poor little witch is going to have to take them off him. You could even give these little pumpkins little faces as well, if you know, make it more interesting. Scared little pumpkins, but I'm going to leave them like that. And just for the ground, I think I'll add some grass, because he's in a forest. Some pieces of grass, maybe a few little plants. Some shadows. And I'm going to put the text along here this time. So that's number 5, it's a continuation. So she grabbed her broomstick and flew over the trees. I'll put a comma there. Where she saw a horrible monster eating all the pumpkins. She cast a spell on him. So that's what's going to go on this page. So where she saw a horrible monster eating all the pumpkins. She cast a spell on him and he ran out of the forest crying like a baby. And just a bit more space here, so we'll maybe do a couple of more little flowers. And if this was a longer book, you could have more pages, you know, and have a page with him running out of the forest crying like a baby and the little witch casting the spell on him. But because we're limited to 6 pages, we have to choose which images to use. So this is the one I chose. And then the last page. I did it wrong. Oh no. Okay, this was supposed to go onto this page originally because forest was the word for page 6, but it's okay, it's still the same story. So I have words 5 and 6 on this page. So on this page, the sentence I have left is, she went home and made the best pumpkin soup ever. So I think I'm going, yeah, so that's going to be the ending. So it's going to be a nice little ending. The little fairy is happy, she's safe at home, she had her pumpkin soup. So rather than doing a picture of her eating the best pumpkin soup ever, I think I'm going to do a little picture of her just happy in her bed, tucked up, going to sleep, maybe an empty bowl beside her showing that she's after eating her pumpkin soup. So we'll let's draw a bed. Actually I'll use black. Little bed. And her little hat actually hanging off the edge of the bed. There's her hat. And the little witch is asleep in the bed. There's her hair, her little face. And then her eyes are closed now, so she's asleep. So closed eyes and a big smiley face. And then you see a bit of her dress, but she's covered under the blanket now, so her little hand maybe is just underneath her face, fast asleep. And maybe her broomstick is here against the wall. And I'll draw in the edge of a table here with a bowl, an empty bowl. And a spoon. So that was her soup. All gone. Some shadows under the bed. Maybe because she loves pumpkins so much, we give her a little pumpkin blanket. And a window. The moon is still shining outside. And there she's happy with some little zzzs. Make her sleep. Okay, and then the last sentence was, she went home and made the best. Actually, I'll add to that. So I had she went home and made the best pumpkin soup ever. I think I'll say she went home, made the best pumpkin soup and had a wonderful night's sleep. And then I think at the back cover I'm just going to draw a little star. That's the end. And you could write your name at the bottom. I'm going to write my name. Actually, we'd say written and illustrated by. Written and illustrated by. Not going to fit my full name now, so I'll just write Róisín. And you write your own name there. So written and illustrated by you. So we have our book. We have our 6 pages. Actually, I just need to clean it up a little bit. Oh, another star there. It's from the back. We have the back page, and then we need the front cover. And the front cover and the title actually we need. Front cover is what people would see, you know, if you go into a bookshop. So you need to make it nice and attractive, nice and bright and strong. Sometimes, you know, simple as well, not too many details. For the title, I'd normally like to keep the title quite simple. You can spend ages coming up with, you know, the best title ever. But for this book, I think I will call it, so it's about the witch who likes pumpkin soup. Call it Pumpkin Soup, or how about Give Me Back My Pumpkins? I think that's a nice name for the book. And then maybe I will draw, I think I'll just draw the little witch, kind of looking confident in herself, saying, give me back my pumpkins. So if I have the witch here in the middle, and then the title. So give, again, this could be planned out and, you know, give proper space to all of the words, but I'm just going to do this quickly. So give me, so me, she's saying strong, so I'll put that in capital letters. Give me back and again my might be strong. I'll just keep it in blue. My, give me back, a capital letter actually. For the title they're all capital letters. Give me back my pumpkins. UMPKIN. I should have moved over here, a bit more space at this end, but it's okay. Give me back my pumpkins, and I'll do a little exclamation mark. Maybe because there's a bit more space on this side, it's not centered, I'll stick a little star just to fill up the space. Now, give me back my pumpkins. Do some more stars. And on the cover as well, you don't want to give away too much of the story, so I'm not going to draw in the monster or anything. Oops, I forgot to put my piece of paper in between again. Always forget. Just give that a little clean. Put that piece of paper back in there just to stop it from getting dirty. So yeah, it's nice not to give away too much of the story, so I'm just going to draw the witch. Don't need to draw the monster or anything. Once people start reading the story, they're going to find out about the monster. So for now, all they need to know is there's a little witch who wants her pumpkins. So we give her a strong little face, maybe like determined looking, so little eyebrows. She looks actually quite evil there, doesn't she? It's okay. I don't have time to play around with her, so You could do rough sketches first on a piece of paper, and then when you're happy with the posture and the expression, go on to your final cover. And I'll give her folded little arms. Give me back my pumpkins. Maybe she's floating on her broomstick. She's kind of lopsided here, actually. I'm not sure it's the best, the best looking cover. She could be a little bit more upright. And I did a ring around her. Actually, yeah, I think I will draw a little ring, just to kind of hold her in place. Just to make it look more like a cover, you know. Give me back my pumpkins. And I think I'll just fill it up with lots of little stars and sparkles like we have on the inside to keep it equal, keep it consistent. So I draw my sparkles, little crosses. Okay, if I could, I would twist her around a little bit so she's not so sideways, but that's it. So that's it. So we have the front cover. Give me back my pumpkins. I'll read through real quickly once more. So a little witch lived in the woods. This little witch loved to eat pumpkin soup. There she's with her pumpkin. But tonight she couldn't find any pumpkins, and there was an eerie feeling in the air. She grabbed her broomstick and flew over the trees. Actually, I'll colour in the moon. Let's colour the moon pink. Where she saw a horrible monster eating all the pumpkins. She cast a spell on him, and he ran out of the forest crying like a baby. She went home, made the best pumpkin soup, and had a wonderful night's sleep. The end. And that brings us to the end of our workshop. So now we all have a lovely little book. And the nice thing is that we all have, even though we did the same exercise, all of our books are going to be completely different. There's so many stories out there that, you know, we'll never get to write them all. So it's a really nice idea that we all have a different little story to show at the end. And I'd love to even see some of them. If you want to get in touch with me, I have a website, Róisín.ie. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, so feel free to contact me there if you have any questions or if you just want to show me your books, which I'd really like to see. I'd love to see how the workshop went. And most of all, I hope you just all had fun and enjoyed, because I did. It was nice. Like I said, it was my first workshop. I was a little bit nervous. So it's nice that we've completed it and we have our little books, and yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching and have a lovely day.